Of course, as Dr. The Srinivas has mentioned about the proceedings of the 3 days, today you are the one who is going to motivate all our young generations who are completing their degree program, and they wanted to venture in a different fields of agriculture. You are the person worked in a various places, various institutions, national, international level. So I thought you are the best persons. In fact, I would like to mention here today, Dr. Ayappan sir is supposed to give because of some problem. He could not able to make it, and suddenly I requested Dr. Krishna Kumarji. He is the one who can fill that gap. So I thought so he will be delivering now. Come back to the our process, these proceedings. If you look at the agriculture science, it is a cohesive field of biology of a different things which involves the nature, the economic, and the social sciences. So this is in exploration and the practice. If you look at the India, India is one of the country where represents the most diverse diversity if you compare in the world. So and also India is blessed with various types of climatic conditions and also the soil types, so that you can cultivate whatever the crops you need to cultivate, whatever the crops you mentioned you can. Because if you look at when I was in the seed production places, industries, the people used to come to the India because the people can come here with the material and produce and take it back to their countries. So it is work out cheaper because of the environment which is having in the country. So any crop you like, whether it is a cereal, pulses, oil seeds, or the vegetables, that is the kind of things. So in this enclave, how we should really encash from our own graduates and other things. This is one point which is going to narrate. The other thing is the advancement in the biotechnology and also the genetic engineer offered many opportunities for youngsters, especially in the field of agriculture. So now if you look at the government policies, so government is supporting our youngsters and the startups to make use of this advanced technology and see that those technologies should be made available to our end users. So how this government is supporting? If you look at the taxes, so then the tax benefits is going to be given for the establishment of the infrastructure required for this kind of activities, and also some kind of benefits, maybe transport, this subsidies, so many things has been given. Even recently, because of this COVID problem, and the government has announced this Atmanirbhar program, wherein they are focused more on agriculture, especially the infrastructure creation for the agriculture, animal husbandry, and other things, where you could see a lot of avenues, opportunities are there. So I hope you people can encash those, the supportings by the government, so that you can become and you can choose your own area. Then today is the era of the smart agriculture. So when you talk about the smart agriculture, we have to use the technology such as big data, cloud-based services, GPS, and also IoT. So this is technology such as livestock, biometrics, farm robotics, instrumental plant health sensors. So many avenues are there for young graduates. Really, our today's the speaker is going to give you a lot of information and share his experience in these areas, so that you can pick up, you can have a choice how which area you would like to go ahead. So with this, I would like to introduce our speaker. As our Dr. Srinivas mentioned, Dr. Krishna Kumar has obtained his PhD from USA in 1993 as an East-West scholar, and also he was conferred with the postdoctoral fellow from US Davis, California during 2003 and 2 and 3. He served as a Deputy Director General Horticulture. Of course, I had an opportunity to work with him in the ICR At that time, I was the director of Indian Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Seed Science, wherein I used to get a lot of inputs from him, lot of suggestions for the improvement of the institutions. So this is the one opportunity. He is a very great personality. He's always talk about the science, how you can inculcate in the science in your life. That is always the objective, and motivate is his followers or his friends. That was his. And before that, he was worked as a director of NBAII, that is National Bureau of Agricultural Insect, and it's center at Bangalore. And he was also director of Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, and he was a head entomology and nematology division of ICR system. So he has contributed a lot in the field of agriculture, especially horticulture, during his tenure in the IHR. And the main contribution is in the entomology is IPM technology. So this is in especially in the vegetables like high value crops like tomato, brinjal, pepper, chili, French bean. So he was recognized as we are happy to mention as the postgraduate teacher of our University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore, and also Kuvempu University, Shumaga. So he could organize several national and international scientific seminars, workshop during his tenure. And he was also a, the associated with many national and international professional societies in various capacities, and is the founder member of Entomology Academy of India and management committee member of different ICR institutions, namely Directorate of Oilseed Research, Hyderabad. So he was, member of chairperson of the project screening committee in the NMPB and also the NHRDF. He has served the many, organizations. The most important one is there in the scientific advisory committee of CABI, UK. So for his contributions, the many awards has been received by him. Just to name a few: Dr. V.G. Prasad Memorial Award, Dr. Pradhan Memorial Award. So like that, there are so many awards. It is a big list. Is that so? Is well known. So finally, I would like to mention one thing: is when he was in the Biodiversity International, his contribution was immense with respect to the conservations, and he has given a lot of the informations and ideas to me how it can be improved. Even now also he wanted to do a lot of things, especially on the our traditional crops like ragi and avare, and how our system was there earlier, and what was the scientific the support which they were using. And these are all the things which he has really giving me a lot of the information. And sir, thank you so much. So with this introduction, I request you to kindly motivate our student by sharing your experience. And then, as he mentioned, is one of the good orator. I listened your lecture many occasions. I think every student and the faculty will appreciate your presentation. Thank you so much, sir, once again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Your valuable remark. So now I welcome the speaker. So friends, so as a great microbiologist said, chances favors the prepared mind. Today talk is on opportunities in scientific agriculture by Dr. Kumar. So Dr. Kumar is already introduced by our Vice Chancellor. So Dr. Kumar contributed significantly on integrated pest management in vegetable crops. With this brief introduction, I welcome Dr. Krishna Kumar to take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all of you. Respected Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Srinivas, Dr. Patel, and Dr. Chandrasekhar, and all the dignitaries who have been there. It's a very proud moment to have been a product of University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore, and then with the blessings of all of you and also the opportunities that came the way to make our presence both at the national and the level. There is something unique about this particular state itself as
Hello.
compared to any of the other states or the agricultural universities in the country.
Okay. Okay.
The number of universities in every state, for reasons that that have risen out of necessity and sometimes due to other considerations, the number of universities have gone up from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 5, 6, etc., whether it is in Maharashtra or whether it is in West Bengal or many other states. Even in our states, we have many universities like in Dharwad, Raichur, Shivamogga. But what has been the great aspect of that is different from all other states when it comes to our state is all the universities that are from our state, including UAS Bangalore, they have been at the forefront. They have received repeatedly over many years as the best universities in the last 4 to 5 years that I have been seeing. The students graduating from these universities nearly corner the maximum number of SRFs and the JRFs, maximum number of ARS scientists, and it led many a times the ASRB chairman to ask me, what is special in your state that is not so special? Is there something specially being coached to the students that makes them so successful? It's a tribute to all the teaching and other faculty of this university that we have been able to provide that kind of a leadership and education which has seen to it that they are the most successful even while competing with students from other states, which reflects as the quality of the education. Having said that, I would now just slightly go into the different aspects, and I would like to share my screen with regard to the whatever are my some of my thought processes which I would like to share with you with regard to the different aspects of opportunities that arise in scientific agriculture. And I would begin my lecture by saying that what has been written maybe about at least about 60, 70 to 100 years back. One of the statement it says that at the head of all civilization and progress lies not commerce, the art that accumulates, not militarism, the science that kills, but agriculture, the mother of all lives and the maintainer of human life. Irrespective of the fact that how many guns and ships and warships that we buy, or we talk about the stock exchange and the GDP, when the COVID strikes, everybody queues up in front of vegetable shops, in front of grocery stores, so that we have our livelihood. And India, a country where nearly 50 to 60% of the population is directly and indirectly dependent on agriculture, you can be rest assured that this is the backbone. This will remain the backbone for a few decades to come, at least, in our daily lives. And it is absolutely essential that as you all graduate at this level, we really look forward to serving this country as well as taking care of our own livelihood security in aspects that are absolutely relevant, absolutely necessary, absolutely, as the Prime Minister says, the Atmanirbhar Bharat, or as necessity for our own food, nutritional, livelihood, economic, and ecological security. Now, as you all know, there are many kinds of job openings. There are government jobs. You can join the Department of Agriculture, you can join the Department of Horticulture, you can join the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, you can join to any of the universities in the terms as a research assistant initially to start with, as an assistant professor, and slowly go in the job of teaching, research, or doing extension in the university or state department. There are many, many opportunities with the number of private institutions also coming into the fray. Believe me, the day may not be very far off when like it happened in the engineering and in the medical sector, whether we like it or not, maybe private players may also be a significant players in the process, and they really are in need of some of the best um, human resources that is available. Agriculture itself is making a transition from a poor, uneducated farmer to a literate, educated farmer. The generations that we are seeing today is not the crop of a farmers who did not know how to sign how to affix a signature or how to communicate with, but today's farming community, and in very shortly the few years to come, you will see a farming community that is robust. Already farmers are very adept at using WhatsApp, using the IT technology, able to listen to the news, understand, and come and talk to you in languages that you want. But they want solutions, and those solutions are very different. They were not what used to be a general. Today is the world of what we call it as subject matter specialization, and we really want to have a kind of uh, farming solutions. Besides, it is very also painful sometimes to see that many of our own persons who have studied, when they still have the opportunities to go back to the farming, whatever you have studied, when if you have land, if your ancestral property you own land, or if you can do farming even as a contract farming, I think this is one of the best opportunities, because I have with me some of my own students who, when joined as research assistants, have taken to farming, protected cultivation, and are highly successful. Many of them are great consultants. The farmers at this level, in spite of all the education that is given, often there is a problem of micronutrient deficiencies, nematodes, pests and diseases, viruses, and very often small problems which probably a general agriculturist may not be able to understand, or a general BSc agriculture graduate, but as postgraduate in your field of specialization, you can be absolutely great consultants. In future, the demand is going to be for those who provide answers to salinity, answers to boron deficiency, answers to nitrogen deficiency, water and nutrient use efficiency, and the list is endless. The solutions and the problems have to be very specific. And lastly, one of the things that differentiates, like you saw that initially most of our engineering graduates became IT experts and they were serving for very big companies. But today, the entire American software, and to a great extent Indian software, is driven by our own entrepreneurs who are making a huge difference. And today you can see, whether it is Microsoft or whether it is you name the company anywhere abroad, the CEO happens to be mostly an Indian. And when they can be CEO of the leading world companies, just imagine how many of the new startups are emerging, and what happened in engineering can absolutely happen with many of you being your own entrepreneurs with the skills that you have acquired or in your college. In addition to that, there are tremendous requirements for the banks. Today, our banking sector often has not been that economically that sound, partly because of the non-performing assets and the loans that have been sanctioned, and by agricultural sector, which is also one of the sectors where banking provides a great deal of help, is managed to an extent by persons who don't understand the intricacies of it. The robustness of a country lies is also in Karnataka should not remain in Karnataka. Karnataka should become pan India. If all our Bangalore professionals can go to different parts of the world and start IT professionals, what is it that is holding back our own students from being the postdoctoral fellows abroad, join the international organizations, and making a mark? Whether it was Dr. Ashok Dalwai, whether it was Dr. Ayyappan, whether it was myself, or for that matter, your own Vice Chancellor, those who travel, those who are ready to go out of your own cushioned atmosphere of house and the region, you make a difference to yourself to your country, to your state, and the world. Today is an opportunity where you can have more than one job. You can do your own farming, parallelly, you can be doing your own other entrepreneurs. You can be a consultant, you can be a farm leader, you can be a cooperative society member, you can be a politician. One of the things that's again is all the Indian science is dependent on science writing that takes place abroad. Which is the best book on soil science? Buckman and Brady. Which is the best book on some virology? It is something that is written by somebody else. Now, there is a need to indigenize the Indian agriculture. There is a need to use the power of publication IT by using our own examples and also by writing in the news and media. Who are the persons who are writing on behalf of agriculture? The persons who have never seen the fields with their bare feet, persons who don't understand the problems of Indian agriculture, and persons who hardly have studied agriculture. They become great columnists and they initiate the policy maker and the changing in the decision process. But you have an opportunity to bring. Secondly, you have seen this is a how many TV channels have cropped up in each of the language. And it is not about Sushant or somebody's murder which should be occupying the news always 24 hours, 365 days. But the problems of the farmers are never aired through the media. And persons who have that kind of a knowledge can make a tremendous difference. The marriage of information technology and agriculture has not happened. While agriculture and agricultural scientists, agricultural universities, we have not been truly able to integrate the leaps and bounds, the measures with which the information technology, the IT-enabled softwares can make a difference to our lives. But at the same time, it is also true that the IT professionals, in spite of all their technical and other knowledge in their field, when it comes to agriculture, they are nowhere. And together, the marriage of these two has to happen. Your vice chancellor is a seed technologist, basically by profession, but seed is the edifice of Indian agriculture. It is the seed that is carried by the farmer generations after generations. And today, the top companies, which originally started as agrochemical company, are all turned into seed companies, hybrids, improved varieties, genetically modified crops, one way or the other, or any improvements that come will tomorrow define the national landscape when it comes to crops. Ecology has taken a very, very strong rooting in our systems. Today, nobody is going to talk about a farmer, but is going to talk about landscape management. How do we manage our forest? How do we manage our rivers? How do we manage which crops to be grown over a large area? How do we prevent the accumulation of salt? How do we prevent the depletion of topsoil? These are all the concepts that are going to become ecologically relevant. And agriculture, we have studied more from plant breeding, agronomy, and many other perspectives. But when it comes to landscape management, it is a different ball game, and there is a need of such persons. There is a serious requirement of even NGOs who, without any selfish motto of are making money, actually serve the cause of the farmers. Something like what Sudhamurthy has been doing for the development, for the benefit of the population at large. Those kinds of NGOs, many of you can start, and number of persons, there are number of persons who are willing to contribute to those kinds of organizations, but they do not know how honest they are. Today, if you see the agricultural biodiversity, our agriculture itself, it has all the elements of crops, animals, fishes, soil agrobiodiversity, pollinators, tourism, medicinal plants, wastewater, carbon sequestration, ecosystem services. It is a melting box of all the sciences. In fact, science itself, the edifice of science itself is agriculture. Not commerce or not militarism. Agriculture, the one which provides the food, is the source of ecology, is the source of environment, is the source of ecosystem services, and any aspect which is of interest to you, whether you want to serve as a raw material or a man with medicinal plants knowledge or working on climate change, wastewater treatment, opportunities are humongous. But what differentiates today's agriculture from the past is it is a science-led agriculture. It is no more the question of what about the 40, 50 years back when everything was cultivated abroad. No, today you have to understand, we have to make sure that we blend science in order to make, as you can see, this boy carrying the seedlings in the protrays. This is just around Hasargata region, where a simple farmer who had only 200 rupees in his bank account today is able to supply millions of plants to farmers anywhere across the country just by following scientific agricultural practices. He is not an agriculture graduate, but closely interacted with the scientific community and made a difference. One of the things that all of you can be sure is the organic agriculture that's going to come in a big way. Organic agriculture at this present moment is being taught half scientific and half unscientific ways. But the truth is, the demand for organic products, the demand for organic certification, the demand for organic inputs, be it fertilizer, be it for pest management, or for any other aspects, organic agriculture is going to be one of the futuristic demands. And those of you who are interested in this line, organic agriculture provides a great opportunity. Organic agriculture is possible. Only thing is, you cannot have it for all the crops all the time in all the places. It is to identify the right crops at the right time and the right marketing strategies along with IT management for you to be successful. Let us also admit that rice, wheat, maize, potatoes, bananas, they are all some of our crops which are going to be there for generations to come. They are the edifice of food security. We may say that we are really self-sufficient in food, but 2 years of drought can make it. Already persons are telling this year China is going to have a severe food shortage because of floods. This year we also saw how much damage. Climate change is coming in a big way, but the research that we put it in either through the private sector or through the public sector or through the extension agencies that take these seeds into the farming through demonstrations and others, it is going to make a tremendously difference. For example, let me just quote, we were never thinking of basmati rice, but the basmati rice area, Dr. Rajendra Prasad knows, has been growing by leaps and bounds. This country is exporting to the tune of 80,000 crores worth of basmati rice, and most of it is Pusa basmati rice, because it came from the Pusa Research Institute, and more importantly, the breeders contributed to blight and blast resistance. So you can see that 80,000 crores that this country is earning is not a small money in terms of business. And what I'm telling is also equally true for wheat and is also equally true for many other crops. But due to paucity of time, I'll not be going into every detail. One of the things that really where all the science has failed is scientists did not articulate the way we should be articulating with respect to genetically modified crops. When it comes to atom bombs that we blasted in Pokhran Valley, 6 people or 8 people made a decision. But when it comes to BT Brinjal, the rickshaw puller, the cart puller, the garbage cleaner, the housewife, the beggars, everybody had a policy perspective on GM crops of BT Brinjal. We require here a science-led agriculture. Everything is with risk, associated with risk. But the question is, how do we minimize the risk for the betterment of the society? The future plant breeding will have tremendous opportunity for resistance management, especially pest and disease risks. Marker-assisted selection, I am only going into because you are postgraduate students and each aspect of the subject I am touching. If it is not genetically modified crop, we have to really go in a big way for marker-assisted selections. And most of our examples have been either limited to wheat and rice, but we have not really made great strides. But I'm sure with your postgraduate research and follow-up research, marker-assisted selections, double haploids, which is only a last 15-20 years, is making tremendous inroads in the private sector. And that is, or for that matter, anther culture. You can call double haploids or anther cultures. They are some of the things. But what is important is, in the private sector, there is a concept called as the placement segment. What is the type of chili that I should develop for Guntur, for Northern India, for Punjab, for Orissa, for Karnataka, Tamil Nadu? We have to understand the market, and accordingly, trade specific breeding has to take place. And this is possible only you have to really think beyond Kolar, beyond Chikbalapur, beyond Dodbalapur. We have to think the state as one. We have to think the country as one. And we are all global citizens where we should open our ears and eyes for international collaboration. Hybrid technology, we have made progress in the south. Dr. Rajendra Prasad may agree. We have tremendously to march within this country when it comes to hybrid technology, even in North India. Countries like Bangladesh, countries like Nepal, countries like Pakistan, countries like Sri Lanka, Bhutan, everybody is in requirement of technology. India, with its huge human resources, can provide tremendous support to these countries. And why these countries? The whole of African continent looks up to India because our global similarity, climatic similarity with them. And those of you who want to really make a fortune should look into Africa, where they are welcoming you with many opportunities to develop on any crop and any place that you really want. I'll not go into because these are all some of the things. Male sterility, similarly, I never knew till I was into commercialization of technologies in agriculture that male sterility is such an important issue. Though, as students, we had done that Varalakshmi cotton breeding where male sterility was considered so important, and also in jawar and many other crops. But in future, with the labor becoming intensively expensive, gone are the days when we used to do the artificial emasculation and dusting and bagging. Today, it is a technology of discovering the male sterility and making our hybrid seed production. Nursery seedling supply chain is something. In US, nobody goes and puts his own nursery in the field. You order this variety, so many days old, this trait, the nursery seedlings come to you the next day at your doorstep. And India has also made and has been making tremendous progress. But the progress is limited to many parts of only South India. Large parts of Northern India are not yet tapped, and there is a tremendous opportunity for this. Today's consumer wants elite varieties, wonderfully good looking, nutritious, healthy, pesticide residue free varieties of uniform size, shape, and quality. Consumer is the king. And if you want to be that kind of an entrepreneur, you have to integrate the science led. I am just telling capsicum, there are at least 20 technologies that have to be assimilated, whether it is the construction of the polyhouse or nematode management or soil and nutritional management, micronutrient management, training, polyhouse management, and marketing, grading, economics, information technology. Everything has to be combined if you want to make a success of these kinds of crops. And many a times we say that, oh, poor man's brinjal. Why go for BT brinjal? You can have an absolutely borer-free, pesticide residue-free, excellent brinjal if you can just cultivate them in a low-cost polyhouse, just with and market them as organic. So what I'm trying to showcase is the opportunities for the persons who have graduated to make a contribution. Either you as a farmer, or you as an entrepreneur, or you as a innovator. For example, we were never thinking in terms of this, covering the crops with for evaporation, for prevention of evaporation and weed management. Today it has become the order of the day. But what's also the problem and the challenge? Plastics in agriculture. How do we control these plastics in agriculture? What to do with the used plastics? Can we have a biodegradable plastics? How to minimize the cost? How to make them reusable? There are many opportunities that automatically come. Water and water problems are going to be in future one of the most challenging problems, and water management along with soil management is the critical aspects. Every farmer, whether it is a banana farmer or a mango farmer, nowadays people are thinking of dry land rice. So a day may come when we be forced to cultivate rice with very minimum water, and there is an absolute need to upgrade ourselves with regard to the soil and water management. And believe me, tremendous opportunities to exist. But what is most important as agriculture graduates is there is going to be a lot of gap between farmers' need as well as what we offer as a scientific solution. A farmer has got a problem of his borewell. He has a problem of economy to repay the loans. His children need to be educated. Marketing problems will be there. And he has the daughters or somebody to be educated or married. He has got he will plan for the drought. There is going to be excess precipitation. Now his challenges are immune. And what many a times we do is we address one problem, but we forget his inbuilt problems. And we require a close hand opportunities do exist for our community. Go to the field, talk to the farmer. And if you understand the farmer's problems better, believe me, you have assimilated the problems and the technological solutions that need to be imparted. There is a tremendous need of such extension workers in the country. Similarly, science, we have not been able to make, like ISRO and many others, a good impact of our agriculture because we depend on people who don't know agriculture to project our achievements in the media. Who talks about the Arka Rakshak, which made so much of difference, but we only talk about one suicide or something else day in and day out. We need to have persons who are able to very good communicators. Persons, for example, Dr. Your Vice Chancellor may know, there was a person by name Rangana in All India Radio who was so popular wherever he went because he understood the pulse of the farmers and he understood science. And in Raitarige Varte, repeatedly he used to come and day in and day out. We need such type of communication, and there is a need for those kinds of things. And when it also comes to the communication skills, we are still way behind when it comes to the private sector and many of the multinationals, as well as the international organization when it comes to communication. We don't articulate. We become so scientific that the farmers doesn't understand, or sometimes the farmer, what he wants to do, we are not able to bring it back. Communications in agriculture. And when I mean communication in agriculture, I don't mean the pamphlets part of it. Most of our graduates and postgraduates are not able to stand on the stage and able to communicate in the language of the farmers. That very difficult to convince the farmers to get the right kinds of decisions. For example, when I was in a particular meeting, there were farmers from Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, North India, then Kerala, Karnataka, and many. Everybody wants every speaker to speak in Tamil, Kannada, Hindi, English, and they don't want one language to be used. We require communicators who can make a blend of many such beautiful languages to raise to the situation and talk to the farmers in their language. We require teachers who are not ridiculed by the students for their faulty English, but we want teachers whose communication skills are so good that students are automatically drawn into their classes and they go on would like to listen to such lectures. We would like to require those kinds of extension workers whom the farmers love to talk. We require communication experts who understand what the audience want to look at instead of bombarding with information which nobody wants. There is a tremendous opportunity in publication. And I'm now coming to another aspect of commercialization of agricultural technologies. So far, agriculture was always meant to, everything that the university does is given free of cost. Today, one anti-sera for COVID testing, one kit developed by somebody for prevention of the virus. Today, some diagnostic tool that is developed for XYZ is tremendously patented, marketed, and in agriculture, we do not know how many innumerable technologies we have. Monsanto made billions with their BT genes. And they were able to market it, commercialize it. And whether it is Habbalavare, whether it is our Ragi varieties, whether it is some of the wonderful technologies that have come out like Mrugaraja or poultry varieties that were erstwhile that came out of the university itself, or Pusa Basmati, we have not been able to commercialize. As a result, what is happening is we are losing tremendously to the private sector as well as to the international sector. Many of the seeds and varieties developed by our countries are marketed in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka as their own brands. We have to learn not just to do science, but to convert science into technology and technology into commerce. For example, when I was in IHR in 2006, when we took over the commercialization, we were able to make about 1.5 to 2 lakhs. And in a matter of few years, somewhere the income to the institute itself grew by about 1.5 crores. That is not the point. The point is by commercializing some of the best technologies, you are able to make an entrepreneur successful, the farmer successful because he is innovator and develops it and takes it across to the farmers. Biopesticides are one of the rapidly growing markets, whether it is Pseudomonas fluorescens, whether it is Trichoderma, whether it is Bacillomyces, which is Poconia, or the there is a tremendous opportunities in biopesticides. The Dr. Kale, who developed the vermicompost in UAS Bangalore, today you can see, thanks to the university's contribution and our pioneering work, everybody is talking about vermicompost. But the translational part of it is it has to be commercialized where everyone stands to benefit. Today's world is where your technologies are developed, but at the same time, you have to understand how do you license your technologies and make money. We are unfortunately entering into an era where everything is not free anymore. Everything is with legal consequences. There is going to be who is the owner of this variety. For example, Varalakshmi cotton that was developed, we know clearly, but now today in a multidisciplinary organizations, there are many persons who contribute, who owns the variety, how to commercialize it and take it forward, and many other things. And how much do the farmers make money out of it? Intellectual property is one of the biggest things that is going to come in agriculture. And those people who are handling IP assets and IP knowledge, most of them are not agriculture graduates. And without agriculture, it is like a Supreme Court lawyer giving your information on agriculture. But what if he was also an agriculture graduate like Ashok Dalwai, who understands agriculture and an IAS, than an IAS who doesn't understand agriculture? The difference is very clear, and we want agriculture graduates to occupy different facets so that one way or the other way, you are touching the 60% of the population who are dependent. Mushrooms are one of the golden things that we have not harnessed. Our consumption of mushrooms is about 15 to 20 grams per person per year, whereas China consumes 1,400 grams. One of the finest source of medicines. 50% of the medicines or 60% is only for medicinal value. And what are we doing? We are only doing a showcase. Please, this does not require fertilizer, pesticide, space. Take into this technology, and believe me, there is tremendous money into this. Even for aesthetics, it is going. New mushrooms are coming. Another thing that I would like to tell all of you is, when we are talking about agriculture, health is not separate. In future, with the demographic trends and more persons coming to the gray in population, with more, we still having young population to the tune of 50%, we cannot afford in future the medicines that are charged. You see in the COVID every day the newspaper is how much the hospital has charged. Now what this thing is, India itself is a tremendous source of medicinal plants, and we are still exporting only the raw material without actually going into the identification of the active ingredients and the number of plants that we have, the way it can be commercialized. I think you entrepreneurs should take it forward. For example, this is a Mucuna species. We are selling the seeds at 800 rupees or something per kg. We don't know, it goes to Germany. And all of them come for some kind of a behavioral disorders at a tremendous cost from abroad. Today's world is also of biotechnology. Today's newspaper says without RT-PCR You cannot be sure that you have COVID or not. Similarly, today's world is also for diagnostics, detection, management in agriculture. Biotechnology and molecular methodologies have come in a big way. And you have to learn, at least those who are oriented towards that line of thinking, to constantly upgrade yourself with regard to the molecular methods, whether it is for diagnostics or management of the disease. Even today, I tell you, like agriculture provides one of the best, but within agriculture, there are many spheres. Seed industry, nutrient industry, and agrochemical industry, post-harvest value addition, chain, storage, these are going to be one of the greatest opportunities. Persons want multiple resistance and many other things. I'll not go into this. But when it comes to the production technology, the seed will no more be in great demand as much as the seedling, genuine planting material. Persons want, whether it is to tissue culture or it is seedlings, they want ready to be planted in their garden, and that is commercially viable, and you have to provide those kinds of solutions either in the marketing or in the supply chain management. For example, take the example of potato. For India is the only country, thanks to ICR, where all our seed potato requirement are met through the public sector. But at the same time, we are not going to be the same in the years to come. Potato sowed is a big, big, big business. And we are importing our potatoes all the way from Punjab. There is a need to indigenize. There is a need to locally produce it in different ways so that the farmers doesn't end up paying and you also make a business in the process. Quality seeds, irrespective of which crop we are talking, is going to be the need of the hour. One of the greatest segments that opens up for tremendous money is the ornamental sector. And this ornamental sector, for example, this one variety of tuberose which I have marked, I am from the horticulture sector, so I'll be talking more with examples from horticulture. This Prajwal itself occupies 80% of the Indian tuberose market. And the demand is not going to stop as long as it is a rich Indian fat wedding, or for that matter, our birthdays and other things. Valentine's Day increase, the demand for floriculture will increase, and I would request the students to partly put your efforts into floriculture to make more entrepreneurs. As I said, biopesticides, tremendous scope. Because why? Not the world at large, the population at large is going to throw the pesticides out because of concerns. And the world is moving towards safe material, and biopesticides have tremendous role to play. These are some of the technology. We always thought that what is a great technology? We developed a technology called banana special micronutrient. That was the number one technology that was sold in IIHR, and probably efforts of Dr. Edward Raja, one single scientist. We developed a pheromone technology for mango fruit borer. And when we gave it to the entrepreneur, he beautifully brought it like a gutka packet, improvised to the delivery system. And believe me, the technology was sold to him in 2 lakhs. And every year he gave a royalty of 6 lakhs because that was the amount of sales. One technology commercialized to fruit fly, they say it has brought benefits to the tune of something like 1,000 to 2,000 crores to our mango production over years. Water use efficiency as well as mechanization are going to be very, very important in the days to come. India is the land of small and marginal farmers. There is tremendous need for mechanization. And believe me, mechanization is not going to come from some of the imported machinery from Israel or, for that matter, Africa, or South Africa or United States. We have to develop technologies that is suitable for our own indigenous farmers. And that requires, this is the pheromone technology, which was earlier we were giving it from tab, this thing, water based. Now this small technology has made tremendous benefit to the farmers, and we are able to export our mangoes. You can imagine the impact of technology. But it has to be science led. In mango, you always see one plant is flowering and one plant is not flowering, one branch is flowering, one branch is not flowering. Nobody knows. But the research carried out through scientific agriculture has brought out uniform flowering and uniform fruiting, which goes to say, today there are contract workers who are helping for the export of mango through off-season production, even in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka. That came through science-led technologies and extension of those technologies, including spongy tissue management, to different segments of work. Sorry, this slide was wrong, but this is only to drive home the require of a different farm machinery. For some reason, it has not taken. But farm machinery is one of the greatest missing links, and there is tremendous opportunity for us to join different stream, understand the need. So we don't have still very efficient coconut pluckers. We don't have very good mango harvesters. We don't have in a oil palm harvesters, which are absolutely, the list is endless. Pollination provides another wonderful opportunity for many of the entrepreneurs, because pollination, like in the case of, like I said, in mushrooms, the pollination, one of the always between European Union and us is they want to dump honey into our country. We don't have good organic honey. It is not everything is only the Apis cerana honey or the Indian honey. There are wonderful honeys which are of medicinal value, and besides that, they are going to increase tremendously with the pollination. Now, what is so important about that is we are able to value the honey production. We do not know the value of pollination. They say it is 10 times more, but who has quantified? All the top world organization, whether it is International Rice or Biodiversity International or International Potato, are all headed by economists, and all the agriculture research is mostly headed abroad by economists, simply because they are able to provide those kinds of mathematical figures to policymakers with whether it is pollination or whether it is soil fertility or whether it is vermicompost or whether it is biological control. So these kinds of valuation of ecosystem services by economists is something which is the need of the hour, and there is a tremendous. Why Dr. Ashok Dalwai is everybody wants? Because he talks in economic terms. So there is an opportunity for those who are practicing these kinds of things. We are having a tremendous shortage of taxonomists in the country. We do not know, half of them don't know to differentiate X from Y. But when the dengue comes, everybody wants to identify what mosquito it is. The same thing is true in agriculture, but we can overcome this through a DNA barcode. Molecular technology and molecular methods have tremendous application, and they can be used for diagnosis of, we are doing with COVID, to identify pests and diseases, especially if they are coming from abroad. These are all some of the work that we carried out, and believe me, the marriage of a traditional and a molecular systematics, if it happens, it will take our science and pest management by leaps and bounds. The futuristic research is also through genomic analysis. Many of you may say, what is this person is talking? But believe me, if we believe that the presence of all our genetic information is in the DNA, and the genome analysis provides further understanding of the intricacies of nature. Why the COVID virus is mutating? Where is it mutating? What is the difference between swine flu and this? Why is it only infects lungs? Why is it only infects old people? They are all can be done through genomic analysis. Likewise, it's absolutely necessary, whether it is BT protein or whether it is to bring the materials or to reduce the time to bring out a new variety. In future, such kinds of analysis will be required. Similarly, gene silencing technology is going to make tremendous inroads in our futuristic research, and simply it is mind-boggling at the kind of opportunities that are going to come. Bioinformatics is another revolution. Big data, the entire knowledge of genetic information. How do you process that kind of a big data? Person processing big data, is it not better if he is a good agriculture graduate who knows about everything, so that you can search? See, it is like searching a diamond in a haystack. But what if you are a really diamond merchant who can pick it up just like that? What if you have a methodology to identify, segregate? So those kinds of bioinformatics, and I'm sure agricultural statistics persons and persons who are oriented, big data, even in agriculture, has tremendous potential. And again, mechanization, post-harvest technology, storage, the list is endless. Commercialization of technology is something which is absolutely, take the technology that is there in agriculture, universities and elsewhere, and become entrepreneurs. Study law a little more into depth and understand. See, like today, how many lawyers are there? that many number of lawyers will also be required in future in a commercialized world. Understand the patenting process and at least be specifically addressing the issues. But lastly, I would like to say, I would like you to make certain hard choices. When you are at the door of graduating, you will be looking as to where the money is, but also give an interest as to what I am interested in. It is not just always, this provides more money, but it should also give you, at the end of the day, what I am doing is that satisfaction. When you sleep at night, you should feel proud that I am doing something good. What is your interest and what is your skill? I am interested to do something in organic cultivation. I am interested to do something in biotechnology. I am interested to do in mechanization. But do I have the skills for it? If my skill is in communication, I should not be getting into something else. So analyze your skills versus interest. Sometimes you will have the skills, but you have the compulsions of life, family necessities, aging father, land to be managed. So many, so you have to make a balance in life. Initially, you can probably, everybody will look for money, but in the long run, interest will come. You have to have sometime address the priorities will be compulsions of life. But believe me, the compulsions of life will pass through, but keep your interest alive. Unfortunately, we have become a frog in a well. I want to be close to my village. I want to be close to my city. No, I have traveled all over the world. This whole world is one. When I studied when I was a postdoc in US, my roommate was in German lady. When I was in Hawaii, I lived in the midst of all the 40 countries, including Chinese. The world is one, people are the same. Go out, learn different technologies, interact with people, learn more language, and make a difference to you as well as to them. Money versus contentment. You can make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, maybe 10 years down the line, are you contented? For example, many of them go to private sector where it is like a pressure cooker. You may make more money. You may be always traveling by air. You may be always there in five-star hotels, but you will be missing your family at the end of the day. So you have to make those kinds of stability versus risk management. Now, I can always get a job very close to my house, be an assistant professor or something, and be very stable. But can you grow? So take the example of Rajendra Prasad himself. He was there very contented in the university, but it made a tremendous difference to him when he went as a director of Indian Institute of Seed Research. He took that risk. That made a difference. I took the risk and went to Delhi, and from Karnataka made a difference in New Delhi. And you always don't think about the self. In the long run, you have to think through the society. It is very wrong to assume that the opportunity knocks the door only once. No, opportunity comes to you in different forms, in different phases. For some particular point of time, you may not be able to do it, but believe me, opportunities keep on coming in different forms. So don't be disheartened if you fail once. There is nothing like a job that is suited for males and females anymore. This is to all the girl students. If you can be space engineers, if you can be COVID warriors, if you can be great teachers, you can do everything that the gents can do or males can do, and maybe a shade better. Money is everything is not true. Money is a good servant and a bad master. As long as you control money, it is good. But if money begins to control you, then you lose everything in life. So earn as much as you want. Rest of it, you should know how to give it to others. Don't be under the belief that what you learn in colleges is bookish and it is of no. Even today, 42 years today I join. I mean, after 43 years after even today I interact with Professor Viraktamat. Even today I discuss with my teachers. Even today we discuss with intricacies of many of the things that I learned is even today useful to me. Everything you studied may not come to use, but believe me, what you have studied, all of us when we are in our 60s and 70s, one thing we believe, we thank our teachers from the bottom of our heart because everything we learned has come to use and will be coming to use. And there is a belief in this practical world you cannot be honest. Don't get into these kinds of unnecessary superficial comments. Today, in my place, Dr. Ayyappan was to give the talk. Why the world loves Ayyappan? Because he was an embodiment of honesty. And honesty is the best policy. Believe me, in all walks of life. So try to do. You need to compromise values to go up. No way. Don't compromise the values that you have. Opportunities in different forms will come to you, but don't. And position is everything. Oh, I am this joint director. I am this director. Position is only when you are on the chair. People respect you for what you are, and not because they may respect you at that particular moment because they want your signature. But true respect comes. There is a statement in Sanskrit, Swadeshe Pujyate Raja. Uh, 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 the Pandit, Vidwan Sarvatra Pujyate. So if you are knowledgeable, if you are humble, it is also said that Vidya Dadati Vinayam, your education should give you humility. And Vidya Dadati Vinayam, Vinayadhyata Patratam, your education and humility gives you what you get as a recognition. That recognition is what is the one which is the source of your wealth. Wealth means not necessarily money, but everything. Dr. Ayyappan right now has a COVID positive, but the entire world is ready to stand shoulder to shoulder to him, not because he is rich, but he has earned that wealth. So position, he come and position goes. He is no more a DG, but I have stored in my mobile still as DG for him. That is the person's how it matters. There is no silver bullet. You will have many opportunities. Believe me that you can always have confidence that you can do it. That confidence. In Japan, they say, if this student cannot do it, this class cannot do it. If this class cannot do it, this school cannot do it. If the school cannot do it, nobody in Japan will do it. If Japan cannot do it, the world will not do it. So have that confidence that if you cannot do it, who else can do? I will do it. Take a calculated risk. Don't take risks which are foolish. You should not jump into the river without knowing the depth. But at the same time, you cannot be without jumping into the water to learn swimming. So you should take that calculate. Speak in a way that others love to listen. A successful person, today the American elections are going to be held. What decides whether Trump is going to win or Biden is going to win? How they communicate in the TV, which will be nationally, internationally telecasted. Communication is the skill. Speak in a way that others love to listen. Listen in a way that others love to speak to you. Success is not always what you say, but how you say, or sometimes don't say at all. Silence. They say that Narasimha Rao probably is the greatest prime minister we had, and somebody asked him, "You don't reply to any of this." Then he says, "No action is also an action." Sometimes being silent, being not to speak at the wrong moment, speaking in a way that can hurt others, and it's better to be silent. Those matter. Communication skill is an art, and practice it. Thank you very much. This is in a nutshell. I thought I will, maybe I don't know if I exceeded by 5-10 minutes. I thank the Vice Chancellor and everybody for a wonderful opportunity to share this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your talk was inspiring. So we have few questions, sir. So
Yeah.
I'll ask only one general question, and others will going to forward to you. So the question is, does the reverse migration of agriculture helps in improving the agri scenario at national level? This is from the audience.
A good question. See, unfortunately, with the technology that is there in our command today, you don't have to have essentially a reverse migration, because the truth of the matter is, as the society develops, agriculture is going to be managed more efficiently through IT, by remote, by mechanization, by many other means. So it is not absolutely necessary for all the youth to be basically go back into the village or reverse migration. But having said that, the way the trends that are happening in villages today, where only old people or young children or others are there, is also something which is catastrophic. So I will say that it should not be that in toto there has to be a reverse migration or you should go in that direction, which is not going to happen. But the persons who have the love for agriculture, the persons who are innovators, the persons who are motivators, the persons, for example, one of the things that we are seeing is a farmer is very successful. His children become doctors and engineers, and they then go back. And then the farming itself becomes nobody to attend. So in such a scenario, we should develop mechanisms by which the person can be engineer or a doctor, but at the same time a great agricultural entrepreneur too, can practice protected farming, can be a leader with regard to revival of lakes, can one of the opportunities that is coming in a big way is also urban horticulture and urban landscape. Many of our extremely well educated persons can develop into these kinds of things. So not necessarily that reverse migration should take place to the same extent, but our villagers are also at this point of time in need of a partial migration of the entrepreneurial population who can be a role model and who can contribute to that sustainable development of the village. There is no, again, as I said, silver bullet, but you have to manage both your necessities, both at the rural and at the urban level. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, your talk was very exciting. So I could recall the word of Aristotle. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Today, you are educated our audience with hearts. So on behalf of University of Agricultural Sciences, I wholeheartedly thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I am grateful to our beloved Vice Chancellor for his constant support and encouragement for conducting Science Week 2020 successfully. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so
I'm
much.
thankful to Dr. N. Srinivasa.
Thank you.
N. Srinivasa, Dean Postgraduate Studies, for taking lead in organizing the session. Thank you, sir. Finally, I thank all the participants and students who eagerly participated in the session. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you, Srinivas.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Very nice talk.
Thank
We
you.
got motivated.
Thank you. Thanks, Appa.
Even
Sir,
respective sessions ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡಿ.
ಒಂದೇ ಇರೋದು. It is already told, sir, in the beginning.
Okay.
So the valedictory session starts at 2 o'clock. I request all the participants to log into the session.
ಅದು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತಲ್ವಾ?
ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಕಂಡು.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ.